on Open Up the Industry, we've got one of the coolest people I've met who makes education and, most importantly, nurturing young minds so fashionable. He did a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and Anthropology at the University of Johannesburg. He then did a postgraduate certificate in education and is currently a teacher, coach, choir master, Mr. Dapper Teacher on Instagram, and we really can't keep up with you. Welcome to Open Up the Industry.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What an introduction. I don't know what you're talking about.
So guys, you can see we are hanging out with your favorite, the Sibusiso Masombuka. So before we get into the serious stuff, are you really a director of sports? Did you even play sports at school?
Not a fake till you make it. So I'm a director of sports at Greenside High School. The post was available last year. I'd never been a director of sports, but I've been a head of sport before. I did sports in high school, but I was really more of a cultural learner. So I did drama and debating and public speaking. But essentially, I did athletics too. And then last year I was actually part of a mixed netball team in Benoni. Yeah, so I played netball. Yeah.
All right. And why education, and how did you get there?
Sure. So it really wasn't the plan. I knew I've always wanted to play, to be a teacher. I've always played school when I was young. My mom was a teacher as well, so I used to have like my own little classroom. Use every class, and I would mimic my teachers. The white teachers with the fringe, and you blow the fringe up. I used to do all of that, and then got into high school. Didn't want to do that. I really wanted to study something in BCom. I actually wanted to become an economist. That didn't work out because I did mass literacy. And then ended up studying psychology and anthropology at UJ. And when I was still working in the fashion retail industry as a manager, I spoke to one of the ladies in the head office, and she asked me, what is it that you actually want to do? Because she could see that I work hard because I have to, but it's not something that I'm really passionate about. So we had the conversation, and I told her that I've actually always wanted to be a teacher. The next morning I handed my resignation, and I called my old high school, and that's how I got into education. I've been teaching for 4 years now. Yeah.
And talking about 4 years, do you recommend one to do a 4-year teaching degree or to go the PGCE route, and why?
Sure. There's always an argument between teachers who qualified via PGCE and B.Ed. Because the thing is about B.Ed is that it gives you extensive experience in terms of teaching experience, because you start doing your teaching practicals from first year, whereas with PGCE, you only do it in that year that you do your PGCE, and it's only 10 weeks. And also on the other side, if you're a PGCE student, you basically are the IT person, because you're more knowledgeable of the contents. For example, you did your BCom, and now you're going to be an accounting teacher, so you're probably the right person to teach accounting. But I would say if you know that you want to be a teacher from the onset, do a B.Ed. But if you're not too sure and you want to pursue something else after, then you should do a PGCE.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say I've done my 4-year B.Ed degree. What else can I do with this teaching degree besides being in the classroom?
You see, that's where it kind of limits you, because then you can't do any other work. For example, I did psychology and anthropology, so I can go into the route of being a counselor or social worker, whatever it is. Whereas with somebody that did a B.Ed, you can't really get out of it much, but except for maybe getting into the behind the scenes of teaching, curriculum planning, and things like that. Yeah.
How do you feel about transformation in schools?
It's slow, but we're getting there. We're getting a lot of, what I like about our constitution is that it is becoming more inclusive. So that means that our schools are becoming more inclusive as well, accepting more and more kids, raising awareness about certain issues. But the transformation it's not as quick as what it should be, because the thing is, the world is transforming at a quicker pace. But a lot more schools are starting to accept a lot of things. There's more things that are just involved in a school more than just teaching and learning that is taking place. So yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel about GDE and private schools? Is there really a difference? I know that you haven't had any experience in terms of private school, but looking from the outside.
Look, there's a huge difference. I mean, there's already a difference between a township school and an ex-model C school. Very huge difference. I mean, both of them are GDE schools, but we do know that in an ex-model C school, classes are smaller. You've got more well-experienced teachers and things like that. Whereas in a township school, it's under-resourced, even though it's fully funded by the government. But you know, there's a lot of corruption that happens with all that stuff. But in terms of private schooling versus GDE, there is a very big difference, and they shouldn't be. You know, and if we're saying that our society or education should be inclusive, there shouldn't be a difference between GDE and private schools. Obviously, private schools, smaller classes, more teachers, more attention on the child, and then with GDE schools, obviously, and now with the new system of applying into high school, GDE, the government is injecting more and more kids in our classes, so it's very difficult for government schools now to have that perfect class of 25 learners, because you know, like I think at my school we accepted like 220, and normally we'd accept, the limit is 180. Yeah, so I don't know about. Yeah, I don't
think have a long way.
Yeah, I still have a long way, definitely.
Okay, talking about difference, do you see the need to have two curriculums? I mean, IEB and GDE in a country where there's one university curriculum and we're all going to the same universities and looking for the same jobs? Yeah,
well, it's definitely unfair, but also, so even IEB is just a different examination board. So it's just it means that the matric learners get tested by a different examination board. But Umalusi, which is the overseer of education, kind of regulates both the government papers as well as the private school papers. So it's pretty much the same thing, but it's just that again, they still, both government and IEB, they follow the CAPS documents, the CAPS curriculum, which is the curriculum that is followed in South Africa. So there shouldn't be much of a difference, but I don't think it's important, or I don't think it's fair to have a different examination board. I think all learners should be tested by the same examination board, and because like you said, we're all going to the same university and things like that. Yeah.
I know you teach quite a few subjects. Do you think the content, the curriculum is current, and is it relevant? Is it preparing our kids for the future and for what they are working towards? Yeah.
I think it's the teacher that makes the curriculum important or not, because I mean, textbooks get reviewed every 5 years. That's like a lot happens in a year. But is the content relevant? Definitely. I teach life orientation, and we teach kids about writing CVs, choosing the right subjects, HIV and AIDS, a very big thing in our country. Did you see the stats about the amount of people in Johannesburg that are infected? It's crazy. So I think it is relevant, although, like I said, it's the teacher that needs to make it more current, more cutting edge, because the kids are going to get bored. I remember I was teaching EMS last year, and we were teaching kids how to fill in a receipt. I'm like, I don't know when last I got a receipt. Teaching kids on how to, I was teaching kids about how to create a LinkedIn profile, for example, and not just relying on your CV to sort of network and, get a job. So yeah, it's the teachers that need to make it more current, more cutting edge, more interesting for the kids in their vibe. Otherwise, you're going to get the kids off. Yeah.
And what do you love the most about teaching?
Just engaging with the kids every single day. And they're all different. They're different. Like, every child is different, coming from a very different background as well. Just seeing them develop as well. You get a little grade 8 that comes in at the beginning of the year, and then by the time they're in the beginning of the second term, you can see that their thinking has changed. They're starting to see the world differently. And having been part of that sort of development is like probably the best thing about teaching. Love it so much. It's the most rewarding thing ever. I get just goosebumps talking about it.
Okay, and what frustrates you
about teaching?
Sure. There should be something.
I don't think it's about teaching.
Okay.
But I think, what frustrates me, I think what irks me the most is and especially with GDE schools, government schools, is that there's a lack of parental involvement. It's so frustrating. I mean, imagine raising a child as a single parent. Now, you know, it's the teacher, it's the parents, it's the students. Now, when it's just the relationship between the students and the teacher, it becomes very difficult. We need parents to become more and more involved. And I think when we see it, when a parent and a child and the teacher are involved, that's the most perfect creation, or the most perfect result can come out of that. But it's so difficult sometimes when you're a teacher and you're kind of doing this by yourself. Because some parents just ship their kids to school and they're like, you do everything. But yeah, I think that's the most frustrating thing. But other than that, no. Yeah.
Okay, so there's this huge discussion around passion or job security, and people just end up doing education because it's secure. What's your opinion?
Sure, if you're doing it for job security, you're doing it for the right thing, but you won't survive. You won't survive. But if you're doing it, if it's passion driven, you will enjoy each and every single day. And the kids will see it. The kids will definitely see whether you're a passionate teacher or not. It's so important to get into this particular sector with a lot of passion and not just about job security. We just need to get paid more, that's all. But
Okay. And what is the biggest thing that teaching has taught you?
Sure, patience. And it taught me a lot about myself. Because you see yourself in the many different kids that you teach. I think patience. You definitely have to have patience as emotional intelligence. You get tested every single day. Look, you could have the most beautiful lesson presentation. It's a Monday morning. You're feeling fresh. The kids are just not in the mood. You know, and even if you get them in the right mood, even if you have like a nice icebreaker at the beginning of the lesson, but the kids sometimes are just not going to respond to it. So what are you going to do? Are you going to be angry? Are you going to? Some kids have bad days, and they don't respond to you in the same way each and every day. Some kids like you on the one day, tomorrow they don't like you, and they don't have to like you. So I think what the profession has taught me, especially at such a young age, I first of all had to mature quicker than my friends. Number two, emotional intelligence and patience.
And so much responsibility. I mean,
a big responsibility. I don't have kids of my own, but that first-hand experience as well. The kids are just lovely people to work with.
Okay. Now, on a lighter note, I'm just going to ask you a few fun questions, and you need to pick one. Okay. Are you more of a hunter or a gatherer?
Gatherer.
Okay. You're a new addition to the crayon box. What color would you be and why?
New addition. So it can't be a color that exists?
No. Mix it up.
Sure. It'll probably be... It's blue. It's blue.
Why is blue?
Because that's my name, get it? Blue would be a mix of... I don't know if they would create a different color, but turquoise and blue, those are like my favorite colors.
Okay.
Turquoise is blue, I don't know.
What's the first thing you would do if you won the lottery?
Build my own school. Yes, and many other schools. And probably, I would, if it, guys, and I hope somebody in government like watches this because I've got this big concept, guys. It actually irks me as well that this like schools for children that live with disabilities are so underdeveloped and they're not resourced a lot, and there isn't enough in South Africa. So definitely I would invest in that. And number two, build my own school. What was the last gift you gave someone? Sure. I have to think very... I went to a bridal shower the other day, so I don't want to... a pair of sneakers. And they walked out of my life.
Okay, on to the next. Okay, you've touched a little bit on this. You have your own school. What does it look like?
3 words.
Give me 3 words.
energy.
Okay.
And the energy, like high energy.
Yeah.
Talent.
Yeah.
And passion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's next for you?
Sure. So I'm still doing my honors. I'm continuing with that. I'm going to do my master's straight after that in leadership and management. And I'm really just working hard. Really working with, every time I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, I'm working towards that one goal, and that is to be in a leadership role in a school. And I think I'll have an even bigger impact because I'm part of a people that are, developing a school as well, and just gaining more experience in becoming a teacher. And yeah, we'll see what the future holds, but it's just really, I'm not quitting teaching anytime soon. Yeah.
And anything else that you'd like to add? Maybe speak to someone that's considering doing teaching, a current teacher now at the moment. That's just,
Sure, current teachers, hold on. It's very difficult. We know that it's not the kids that make us unhappy. It's everything else, the context in which we're teaching in. Hold on, be more patient, go to school and with the idea that you want to change a child's life each and every day. Parents, get more involved. We need you in our schools. Government, you need to shape up. And just to somebody that wants to study teaching, it is the most beautiful profession. You definitely want to do it. Look, you change a life each and every day. Every school day is different. Like, people think that you do the same thing every day. I mean, you teach a different lesson. And even if you teach the same subjects to the same kids, something just sparks and develops and changes. And teaching keeps you young. Because you're around teenagers all the time. So do it. We need more young teachers that are passionate, that are driven, young, fresh minds in schools. Yeah.